Fancy dresses, flowing tresses. Many pride parades have a very festive, almost Mardi Gras-like character. It's common to see highly elaborate floats, over-the-top musical performances, and drag queens dressed in an exaggerated feminine style. The flamboyance and theatricality associated with pride parades have been controversial, as some critics within the LGBT population think it portrays the LGBT community as outlandish. However, most people in the LGBT community see these qualities as part of the celebratory nature of the event. Loving kisses, so delicious. Since the 1990s, same-sex couples have been fighting for the right to marry. The US government passed a law in 1996 called the Defense of Marriage Act, DOMA, which defined marriage as being between a man and a woman. Some states have defined marriage as being between a man and a woman, while other states have legalized same-sex marriage. Still, other states allow same-sex couples to enter into domestic partnerships or civil unions. A lot of activist efforts in the gay and lesbian community currently focus on marriage equality. Human Rights Campaign, HRC, has been active in these efforts. HRC advocates on behalf of LGBT Americans, mobilizes grassroots actions in diverse communities, invests strategically to elect fair-minded individuals to office, and educates the public about LGBT issues, including the right for same-sex couples to get married. Marriage equality activists won a huge victory in June 2013 when the Supreme Court ruled that DOMA was unconstitutional and dismissed Proposition 8, a Californian ballot proposition and state constitutional amendment outlawing same-sex marriage. Fabulous. Okay, so that is the discussion that you have. Is there any more? Nope. That's the discussion that you have as part of the pages that you'll see. Now, this is a note to parents and caregivers. Today, people who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender LGBT experience higher levels of acceptance and visibility than ever before. While most parents in same-sex relationships are used to fielding questions about families, many heterosexual parents don't talk to their children at all about sexual orientation or gender identity. Many heterosexual parents want to talk to their children about sexual orientation, believing that prejudice and discrimination against the LGBT community is wrong, but may feel as if they lack the tools to have these conversations, and they are incredibly important. How this book can help. This Day in June provides a positive, normalising and exuberant reflection of the LGBT community and can serve as a jumping off point for children to ask questions about sexual orientation and gender identity. It's important for all parents to talk with their kids about sexual orientation and gender variance for a variety of reasons, including talking about LGBT people in a positive way normalizes all sexual and gender identities. This normalizes and helps inoculate your children against ignorance and fear, common precursors to prejudice, bullying, and violence against children whose behaviours or expression challenges traditional gender norms. Bringing up these issues proactively will convey that you believe in acceptance, respect, and understanding. In contrast, your silence could be misinterpreted as discomfort or intolerance. Talking to your kids directly about sexual orientation provides them with the correct and positive information and prevents the spread of misinformation and inaccurate beliefs. Promoting acceptance of LGBT people helps to reduce sexism. Homophobia and sexism are inextricably linked, LGBT people challenge traditional gender roles and sexist attitudes. If you believe in gender equality, talking to your children about lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender people is one way of combating sexism. Conversations such as this pave the way for smoother coming out experiences for your children if your children are gay. And that possibility might not be evident right away. This might also help, as a note from myself, might facilitate easier coming out experiences for whatever your child may come out as. So, talking to children. How children process these conversations will depend on their age and their cognitive maturity level. Here are some tips for talking to children about sexual orientation and gender identity in an age-appropriate way. So we've got some groups here. We've got 3 to 5 year olds, 6 to 12, and then we've got 13 to 18. And I shall read it all. So we start with 3 to 5 year olds. Let them ask questions. Young children are naturally observant and curious, and this is an opportunity to support those qualities. At this age, children tend to ask questions in order to satisfy curiosity and rarely as a way of conveying an implicit value of judgment. This answers simple and concrete. Keep answers simple and concrete. For example, if your child asks why her classmate has 2 daddies but no mummy, you can say some children have 2 daddies and some have 2 mummies. Her daddies love each other just like I love your daddy or mummy, if this fits. Some of the illustrations in this day in June involve 2 same-sex adults kissing or holding hands, and this can be an opportunity to provide a concrete example to your child. Don't think that you have to make the conversation about sex. Sometimes parents fear about talking about sexual orientation with young children because they're afraid that the children will ask about sex. Children in this age range aren't typically thinking about sex at all. If this question does come up, for example, if your child asks how 2 daddies have a baby, find a book that's applicable to all types of families for talking about how babies are made. If your child likes pretending to be the opposite sex, or if your child is engaging in play behaviour associated with the opposite sex, let them do so. It's common, normal and healthy for kids to do this. In this day in June, there are several examples of cross-gender dress, and this can be normalised to your child as a fun way of playing with expressing oneself. Preventing a child from engaging in opposite-sex play, for example by telling a boy they shouldn't be playing with that doll, conveys to the child that cross-gender behaviour is unhealthy and inappropriate. This can limit the range of skills and interests that children develop as they mature, regardless of their gender identity. And we don't want to feed into that rhetoric. So, 6 to 12 year olds. At this age, a child might not be asking questions just to satisfy curiosity. Try to understand why the child is bringing up these issues. Did a classmate call another kid a fag? Or say, "You're gay," in a taunting manner? Did a group of children make fun of your child's friend because that friend has 2 moms? Your child might need reassurance and tips on how to navigate these situations with peers. Children in this age range are likely to develop close relationships with same-sex peers, and sometimes they get teased by others for this. If your child gets teased, listen to her feelings and concerns and help her come up with strategies to handle these social situations. Not sure why they put a gender on that. Regardless of the gender of your child. This may also be an opportunity for you to speak with your school personnel about these behaviours. Bullying and name calling are likely, there goes my flag, Bullying and name-calling are likely to start within this age range. If your child is engaging in these behaviours, this is a good time to reinforce that to your child the importance of... Oh, I've lost my place. Importance of acceptance and respect. It's also helpful to find out why your child is behaving this way. Children in the older end of this age range become very concerned about peer acceptance. Your child may think that making fun of someone who's different is a way to gain respect of their peers. Challenge this idea with your child and discuss how it may actually achieve the opposite. If your child is questioning whether he is gay or gender variant, reassure him that the answer will become clear in time and that you love him no matter what his sexual orientation, gender identity or gender expression. This might also be a good time for you to identify resources in the LGBT community that might help your child. If you don't know the answer to a question about sexual orientation or gender identity, say so and work with your child to find these answers together. So I've got one last bit. Let's try and sneak it in. 13 to 18-year-olds. It's critical to understand that at this age, peer acceptance is of the utmost importance. For example, teens who have two moms or two dads may not want to advertise that fact to their friends. Keep lines of conversation open at home, but allow your teen to exercise some independence and make their own choices about how to handle these situations. Sexual orientation and gender identity often become apparent in adolescence. If your child says, "I'm gay," listen carefully and convey your support, love and acceptance. This is often easier to do if you've been talking with your child about sexual orientation from a young age. I will continue in this section in another video.